Hey everybody, Prepper Nurse 1 here. Today is March 7th. It is Thursday, 2019. One of these days I'll get it consistently right that it's 2019. I don't know why I keep saying 2018. But anyway, very nice day as far as clear skies go. This morning we had more snow, so the panels I had to clean them off twice this morning. But just like a light dusting of snow both times, so combined maybe an inch. But so today's actually warmer. It's like 18 degrees today, even though the sun is out. But it's going to start getting warmer starting tomorrow. It's supposed to be like 38 tomorrow, and so I'm definitely ready for warmer weather. I'm so done with all this freaking cold and snow. I'm ready for spring. I'm chomping at the bit to get outside and get going on stuff, to be honest with you. So, anyway, so let's jump into the topic of the video. Sanitation and garbage, okay? So, after S.H.T.F, what are you going to do with your garbage? What are you going to do with your sanitation? How are you going to get rid of your waste? Alright, so a lot of people I don't think about this because, again, I'm going to use the scenario that the power's out, okay? Let's say we're going to use that as the scenario. There's no power, so if there's no power, the pumps aren't running, you're not going to be able to flush your toilets and all that good stuff. So, you talking about a city like New York City with that many people in there, and you're still going to have people going to the toilet every day, urinating and defecating. Where's all that waste going to go? Now, and then you're looking at all the garbage from all these people, all the stuff people throw away on a daily basis. Nobody's going to be coming to pick all that garbage up. So what happens to all that, okay? So if it's just dumped in the street, which a lot of people will do, now you're going to be looking at a hotbed for disease, infestation of rats, a lot of sickness. You're asking for trouble is what you are if you do it that way. So my suggestion would be for if you can do it, being it in the city or being wherever you are, is figure out an area that you want to use for sanitation that's a little higher elevation so it doesn't get down into the water table, and dig yourself a nice hole, and then you have a latrine, and that's where you want to try to go to the toilet. So there's always some place that you could dig up to use as a toilet. Okay, now I know like New York City, they have the sewer system, but the sewer system that will dump right into the rivers. So if you're dumping your waste right into the sewer system, that's going to eventually go into the rivers, and it's like, and think about that number of people, it's going to be really bad really quickly. You're going to be polluting your rivers and everything else. Not that they're not polluted in the cities already as of right now, but polluting it even worse, okay? So again, one of the suggestions that I would have for people would be to stock up on lime. A 50-pound bag of lime is going to cost you about $8, I think it is. It's not expensive at all. And what the lime's going to do is it's going to break down that waste, and it's also going to mask the smell. So that's a win-win. Wood chips are another thing that you could obviously use to help break down that waste and again mask the smell. I mean, obviously you're not going to be able to use wood chips for a place like New York City, but that's just giving you a couple of examples of things that you can utilize that are going to help you in that type of a situation, because the smell is going to be probably one of the worst things. And again, you don't want to attract rats and rodents and those type of things, because that just breeds disease. I mean, so anyway, so then on top of that, we're going to talk about garbage. What are you going to do with all this garbage? So a lot of garbage can be burned. Obviously the only thing that really can't be burned, aluminum cans can be burned because they will burn, but your metal pans or those type of things, are not going to be able to be burned. But cardboard, plastic, all that type of stuff, that all can be burned. So that's a good way to get rid of a lot of that waste that way. So these are things I think people don't think about. When you have like these huge cities that we have in our country, and you have that many people concentrated into a small area, you know, that can get ugly really, really quickly. And you know, even in the country, I mean, without proper sanitation, you're inviting trouble. You know, so again, like even out here, you know, holes would have to be dug, and you know, people would have to go back to the old-fashioned way that people did it 100 years ago or 200 years ago. You would use an outhouse. So, you know, those are things that you know, and again, it's all about planning and thinking about these things ahead of time. What are you going to do? Having a game, like I said, when I talk about a game plan a lot of the times, guys, these are the type of things that I'm talking about. You got to think of all these different things. It's not just food, water, Band-Aids, and bullets. That's not the whole gist of what you need to prepare for. There's other contingencies that you really need to think about ahead of time, and you know, so those are things that you really got to take into consideration. So, you know, your waste, you need to really think about that. How are you going to deal with it in a post-event? And again, like I said, your garbage. What are you going to do with all that garbage? I mean, you know, obviously a lot of stuff would be gone through fairly quickly, but you don't want to just have, you know, a big pile of cardboard sitting around and then it getting rained on and wet. And it's just, like I said, it's just it breeds an area of just really, it could be really, really bad very quickly. I remember there was a strike, and I believe it was back in the 70s in New York City, where the garbage men didn't pick up the garbage, and the garbage just piled up in the streets. And what came with the garbage? Rats. So, you know, those are things that, you know, you want to take into consideration. You want to think about if you can plan on something and think, okay, where would I put a latrine? You know, like if you're in the city, okay, or even in suburbia. Let's talk about suburbia too. It's the same type of situation. So, you know, maybe after that event you can coordinate with neighbors and say, okay, well, we need to start, you know, digging some latrines because we're not going to be able to use the toilet so much. And think about once those toilets are all backed up in your house and how bad that's going to smell. So getting, you know, latrines dug and you know, and set up that way. I mean, you dig a deep enough hole, I mean, for a family of, you know, 4 or 5, you can use the same hole for years and years and years. So it's realistically, it's something that's very, very doable, and it'll be, you know, it can be done very easily. But a lot of people don't think about it because we've had the modern conveniences of the flush toilets and everything else, and every convenience is right there and you don't have to deal with it. But in a post-event, these are situations that need to be thought about. They need to be planned for. Again, like I said, having lime. Lime is probably going to be your best way to go. Wood chips, if you have the access to get wood chips, they're nice to have, but what are you going to store, a great big huge bag of wood chips, and how long is that going to last you in that time? So lime is a good thing to have, even if you know, even within an apartment. You can pick up a 50-pound bag of lime and stash that away someplace and just put it out of the way, and then you just have it, you know. But again, like if you're in the cities, you're talking about a massive scale of people all wanting to go to the toilet and, you know, trying to deal with that in that type of situation. Now, I definitely want to hear your guys' feedback on this because I think it's important. The other thing that people are going to don't think about is now, like, after you've used the toilet, you know, not having running water, how are you going to wash your hands and stuff like that? Because the last thing you're going to want to do is not wash your hands and then go to, like, prepare food or whatever, stuff like that. You're opening a whole nother can of worms of really bad things that can happen. So proper sanitation, proper hygiene is going to be a huge, huge thing. You know, hand washing is going to be big because it's like you're going to keep down on the germs. Because again, remember, after S.H.T.F, there's no more going to the store to get antibiotics. There's no more going anywhere to get anything anymore. So you're going to have what you have. And so if you haven't prepared accordingly, you're going to be in deep trouble in a hurry. And a lot of people are going to die just because of stupidity and poor planning. So These are things that really need to be taken into consideration, that people need to think about. And, you know, again, I mean, who knows what the event is going to be, guys? I mean, it could be some kind of super bug that goes through and kills off 75%, 80, 90% of the population. Now, in a situation like that, now you're also going to be dealing with waste disposal of bodies. So there's another thing to think about. Okay, how are you going to get rid of all these bodies? And the best way, honestly, to get rid of bodies is to burn them. Absolutely the best way to get rid of the bodies. So, you know, it's there's a lot to think about. You're going to want to try to keep things as clean as you possibly can. Proper disposal of waste, proper disposal of garbage, proper disposal of the dead. So those are things to really, really think about. I mean, you don't want to leave the dead bodies laying around getting all bloated up and gassy, and then, you know, then you try to move them later and then they're all falling apart. When somebody dies, it needs to be taken care of rather quickly, and you can't bury everybody, and you're going to have an issue if you try to do that. So, like I said, burning the bodies is the best way to get rid of it. And again, there's another way you can get rid of your garbage at the same time, is doing it like that. It sounds kind of crude and it sounds kind of horrible, but it's a reality that really needs to be thought about, okay? So I'd love to hear, obviously I want to hear your guys' feedback on this topic. I think it's a really important topic. It's one that's not really talked about a lot because, you know, people don't want to talk about their waste issues, you know, and stuff like that. But you really need to think about that ahead of time, before S.H.T.F happens, and have a game plan. Again, guys, it's better to act instead of react. And if you have a game plan in place ahead of time, life is going to be so much easier overall. It really will be. So those are things I want you guys to think about. So, you know, just let's think about those different type of things. But so I'm going to kick this around real quick again and just show you the beautiful sky today. Even though it's cold here at the homestead, like I said, it's like 18 degrees. It is absolutely gorgeous. The sun's been out. We've brought in decent power today, and for this time of year, you know, the days are starting to get longer, which is nice. But you know, it's all coming together, and pretty soon I can get to work on this project over here, get those trees going. We're going to get the chicken coop going, and we're going to get that solar rack going. So somebody had asked me, and I wanted to just address this really quickly, and they made a comment, so I thought I would address this. When I do my live chats, somebody had asked me, what do I do with my donations as far as when people, you know, donate in the live chat? Anything that I make, guys, is going back into the homestead. I have a tremendous amount of projects that I want to do, and that obviously takes money. So any donations that anybody gives in the live chat, or if they donate directly to the channel or whatever they do, you know, that all goes right back in to helping us get things done here, to make us more viable, to make our lives better. And so somebody, and I love this here too, so I'm going to show you my lovely Santa Fe. Somebody had said to me, you know, oh, it looks like you got a brand new SUV. This is a 2006 Santa Fe, and I have had it since 2008, and it is now 2019. So I've had this vehicle for 11 years. I do not need a brand new vehicle, don't want a brand new vehicle. I like my vehicle. It gets me to where I want to go. It's my point A to point B vehicle, and you know, so I don't need anything super fancy. That's not what I'm about. I've never been about, you know, trying to impress people, or, oh, look at what I got, I'm so important. Not about that at all. Never cared. I'm a jeans and t-shirt kind of guy, so that's what I've always been, and that's what I'll always be. But like I said, I have projects here that I want to do, so any donations that are given, all go right back into the homestead to help support us, to help us with projects, and those type of things. So, you know, that person had asked, so I thought I would just share that with you guys. So, you know, it's not like I'm out having big fancy dinners or anything like that. It's not my style. So, anyway, guys, I'm going to jump off here for now. Remember, we are all in this together. That's important to remember, and I think a lot of people lose sight of that. Remember also, hug and kiss the ones you love. Tell them every single day. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. We never know what's going to happen. And remember, guys, STD. It's one step at a time, one thing at a time, and one day at a time. Whatever you're trying to do, whatever you're trying to accomplish, you can do it. The only one that's going to stop you from getting there is yourself. That's it. Nobody else can stop you, okay? So stay positive, stay focused, stay away from negativity, and you're going to be just fine. I will talk to you all tomorrow. Have a great night. Prepper Nurse 1, out for now.